So I know that the White Sox have been hot and heavy on Sean Manaea. And James, you and I have had our text messages back and forth on what we've been hearing regarding as far as the White Sox pursuits in Sean Manaea. Guess what? Every contender in Major League Baseball is calling and asking about Sean Manaea because what Rick Hahn said post lockout is 100% true. Teams' biggest concern right now is on the pitching front, especially when it comes to starting pitching. And Michael Kopech is slowly ramping up, even if it takes Michael Kopech a little while to get up to starter build. Having Sean Manaea replace Carlos Rodon's spot in the starting rotation makes a lot of sense. You could always have Kopech replace Dallas Keuchel. If Keuchel is not good, the White Sox are no stranger in cutting a left-handed starter who makes a lot of money mid-season. That's exactly what they did with John Dinks when John Dinks was really struggling with his stuff and loss of velocity. And even though he was making a lot of money, over $10 million, the White Sox still cut him in the month of May. So getting Sean Manaea does not mean that Michael Kopech is going to spend all of 2022 in the White Sox bullpen, especially with the White Sox recent history. But James, I'll start with you. Are the White Sox done as far as making moves before opening day? Could they provide another surprise? As again, they are going to be in Detroit next week to start the 2022 regular season.
So it doesn't seem like they want to be done, obviously. And, I think anytime Bob Nightingale says something, like, you kind of have to, okay, he said it, you have to decipher, like, whether it's true or not, or, like, cause he's hit on a lot, but obviously we all know, some of the other stuff with him too. I mean, they're clearly in pursuit of Sean Manaea. I mean, I know for a fact that, like, they've watched his starts out there. Oakland's clearly asking for more than they're willing to part with, though. Otherwise, I feel like this would be done. I mean, Oakland kind of seems like they're in a hurry to trade everybody, and they still have those two pitchers, so they clearly haven't heard what they want. Like, is Gavin Sheets or Jake Berger plus something enough? I don't know. I mean, I think we're gonna find out. So I don't know if it's not him. I would think this is probably the team, but who knows? I mean, they clearly don't trust the starting pitching depth, nor should they. Like you just said, I mean, you shouldn't have Vince Velasquez starting games for you if you're like trying to win a World Series. So I don't mind grabbing guys like that. If Ethan Katz like thinks like, oh, this is a guy that I'd like to fix for $3 million, like that's fine, but he can't be starting if like Lance Lynn pulls a hamstring. Like you have to try to do something else. I feel like, and maybe we're greedy after they just get an outfielder, but I don't feel like they want to be done. Will they like actually be able to consummate a trade? I don't know, but I think we're going to find out soon because we're kind of running out of time.
Yeah, so from an Oakland perspective, or just in a baseball overall perspective, when you have a starting pitcher like Sean Manaea as a trade asset, I hate calling players assets, but when you have someone like Sean Manaea that's on the trade block and you've been dangling out Manaea to other teams, we know the Minnesota Twins have been calling the Oakland Athletics daily, not just for Sean Manaea, but also inquiring about Frankie Montas. You have to be incredibly careful because while you may think, wow, if Manaea is great in April, that's going to raise his value and we can get more for him in a trade. Well, what if Manaea's elbow starts barking up? Well, you just missed out on an opportunity to really nail that trade, which is why, from that perspective, Jordan, Bennett, James, I think Oakland's got to trade Manaea before opening day to maximize your return in a trade. I don't think you could wait until July. We've seen too many teams get burned by this. And we have seen too many teams acquire a starter. Most recent example, Mike Clevenger going to San Diego, where all of a sudden, well, he's fried and he might have been damaged goods. So I think from an Oakland perspective, I think they got to move Sean Manaea before opening day. Do the White Sox have enough to acquire Manaea is a big question. James, Jim Margulis posed this question to me in our outfield preview podcast. Who would you rather give up in a Manaea trade? Gavin Sheets or Colson Montgomery. And the reason Montgomery is brought up is because in other trades Oakland has made this offseason, they are targeting teams' 2021 first round pick. They are getting those players in return for the trades. And again, Colson Montgomery was the White Sox 2021 first round pick. So who would you rather move in a Sean Manaea deal? A Gavin Sheets or Colson Montgomery?
Interesting. I mean,
that was my exact reaction.
Like,
because
I mean, you're trying to win now. Obviously, I think we both kind of like Colson Montgomery. But if you're trying to win a World Series, that seems a little. Like, I'd rather trade Sheets just because I think he's limited. Like, I think he's a first base DH that's going to hit righties, and he's 25, and whatever. So like, I was hoping that they could get Manaea for Sheets and then sign Conforto to replace the left-handed bat. Now, obviously, Pollock doesn't hit left-handed, but he hits righties. So I'd probably still rather trade Sheets, but I do understand, like, they don't have left-handed power, and he's like one of the only guys that can do that. So I'd still say Sheets probably, but I understand like going the other way for sure.
How do you feel about that, Jordan? Like, who would you move, Montgomery or Sheets for Manaea?
It's a hard question because, kind of like James was saying, do you prioritize someone who can help you now or someone who can help you in the future? I would also prefer to trade Sheets, I guess, because I like the higher upside of Montgomery than the upside of Sheets.
Hey, one second, guys. Rick Hahn is currently speaking to the media. I'm going to share as far as this tweet into the space. Garrett Crochet is going to need Tommy John surgery. So again, Rick Hahn is currently speaking to the media. He will be speaking about as far as his trade. So we'll get sound bites from Rick Hahn shortly. But there is, God damn, that's 4 breaking news stories today in like a couple of hours. Garrett Crochet he will need Tommy John surgery. Crochet will miss the 2022 season. Go ahead, Jordan. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're fine. I think as far as the Crochet news so I guess to start, I'd probably trade Sheets before Montgomery. That being said, I can see the argument for the alternative where, Montgomery doesn't help the 2022 White Sox. Sheets is more likely to, so stick with Sheets and trade Montgomery. So I understand both sides. I'd probably trade the guy who I feel has a lower ceiling. And as far as the Crochet news, real quick, I don't think that's incredibly surprising. I think the one thing I do want to point out is that a lot of people are probably going to say, oh, he should have just gotten the surgery after the 2020 wildcard incident. And the reality is you can't force a surgery like that. You can't just say, oh, you need to get Tommy. It's either not in your elbow, your UCL is either in one piece or it's not. So it's like you can't just electively get that sort of surgery. Like it's almost a requirement. So that's going to be one thing you'll probably read a lot that doesn't have a lot of merit to it, because you can't just choose to get that if the structure of your elbow does not require it.
Yeah, you can't ask a doctor, can you purposely snap my UCL for me so I can just get the damn surgery?
It's either snapped or it's not.
All right, can you open it up, snip it, and then tie it back together for me?
Yeah. That's what you'd be asking. That's what you'd be asking a surgeon to do. All right, so with Crochet now out for the season, James, give us the lowdown as far as some left-handed relievers that the White Sox have internally that can maybe take Crochet's spot in the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to replace him. I said this. I mean, he was really good last year, quietly, I feel like, and I think he wasn't throwing 100. So I think, for those of us that watch every game, like, I think we remember some of the struggles in the 10th and some of the bad spots they put him in. But I mean, he was a top 30 reliever in the sport last year. So it's a big blow. I think Bennett Sousa, is a big league reliever. I mean, he's throwing 97 with good break. I mean, that's like a piece in a bullpen. That's not Garrett Crochet. I mean, does Tony Watson excite anybody? He's still out there. I mean, they're going to need to do something. I mean, obviously, it's the bullpen, right? And their bullpen's really good, so it's not like losing Luis Robert or somebody. It's more unfortunate, I think, for the player.
Mhm.
And it does go back to like an old debate that you and I have, right? I mean, they were going to try to use him in the Kopech role this year, where he was going to throw more, and they were going to maybe try to start him next year. Those talks are like, and I've been reluctant, right, to give in to the fact that he's reliever only. He's absolutely reliever only now. I mean, he'll be back, and he'll probably be better, because that's what happens now with these surgeries. It's just time. But there's no chance this guy's ever starting after this, just purely based on he'll just never have the innings built up.
Yeah, it's even if you still hold out for hope, that's like a 2024, 2025 conversation. And James Crochet's entering arbitration. Like, uh,
Yeah, so
yeah,
he'll be third year pre-arb next year. So I would imagine, what if he has this surgery now, we should see him by mid-season 2023.
yeah.
And then after that, he'll go to ARB. But I mean, he's going to be really cheap, man, because and not that, I don't want to, treat the kid like an asset right now. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be in year 4, first year ARB as a reliever. I mean, that's the type of guy that they just like lock up long term on a reliever salary, because the starting, it's going to be very tough for him to start.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so to recap what has gone down today. Before the trade, the White Sox optioned Zach Collins to Charlotte. So Zach Collins will not be the primary backup catcher for the White Sox on opening day. Then the White Sox traded Craig Kimbrell to the Los Angeles Dodgers for A.J. Pollock. Then the White Sox agreed to a 1-year contract with Lucas Giolito to avoid arbitration for $7.45 million. And now general manager Rick Hahn, speaking to the beat reporters, announces that Garrett Crochet will be missing all of 2022 with Tommy John surgery. Poor Jim Margulis. That keyboard is on fire right now, trying to keep up with all the breaking news on SoxMachine.com. That's like 4 stories right there in a couple of hours. All right, so we're all happy. The White Sox have A.J. Pollock. Lucas Giolito's got a new contract. Then, obviously, some bad news with Garrett Crochet, and we'll see what Rick Hahn does. And maybe Tony La Russa's suggestions as well, and who we'd like to see, or who they would like to see in the bullpen to at least start the season. And hopefully Aaron Bummer doesn't have any injury setbacks, or the White Sox are going to have no lefties in their bullpen, and they may be of interest of going after someone, perhaps at a trade or in the free agent clearance bin aisle, to see if there's any lefties out there that they could possibly add to their bullpen. But I always like asking this question before signing off. And I'll start with you, Jordan. What's next for the White Sox between now and opening day?
I think that, they open up a they open up a bit of salary by trading Kimbrell and getting Pollock. It's not a bank breaking amount. So I don't expect a major move, but I do expect, with Crochet and Kimbrell, you now have 2 fewer arms than you were anticipating a day or 2 ago. So they're going to have to either add a bullpen arm or a 5th starter type arm that kind of plays a Ronaldo Lopez type role. So I don't think it'll be anything flashy. I'd be thrilled if it was Manaea. I don't know if it will be. I don't anticipate it being. But I do expect them to add just another arm that can eat.
Sorry, Jordan. I was messing around in Twitter space and I muted everyone. So if you can unmute yourself and continue finishing your thought, I did not mean to create this technical difficulty. That's usually your thing.
I was gonna say, like, I didn't think my point was that bad an idea. Like,
So
all right.
I'm so sorry.
No, so just I don't know where it cut off. So long story short, they'll probably add an arm, a little bit of salary relief with the Kimbrell trade. Won't be anything flashy. I don't think it'll be Manaea. I won't get my hopes up and say it will be. Would love it to be, but I still think they'll add an arm of some sort.
All right, Bennett, how about you, man? What do you think is next?
I don't know. I think I've been wrong about 400 times in a row. So I'll say probably not much. I agree. Maybe they'll add a reliever of some kind, but I think that might be it. And honestly, they need a starter, but if this is how they roll in to start the year, I feel comfortable. A lot more comfortable today than yesterday.
That's a good point. How about you, James? What do you think is next?
Felix Hernandez. So
Oh my
that's what-
gosh.
Fingers
No,
crossed.
I'm
Fingers
kidding.
crossed.
I was leaving
I had
that
to
for
do it.
Bennett. I'm surprised he didn't
I
take
had
it.
to, no, I had
I
to do it
already
before
overused it today. You
Yeah, well.
gotta give it room to breathe.
What else did you Yolmer? Yeah, that was something.
Keep coming back.
So I'm gonna be the optimistic one and say that they actually do get Sean Manaea because it seems like that's who they really want, and they're the team mentioned the most. I think it might hurt a little bit more than we're anticipating, though. So, now I don't have any info. I'm just saying, like, I think to get it done, we're gonna be like, ooh, like they had to give up that, and
Yeah.
then we'll live with it and try to win the World Series. But I do think. I think something else is coming because the roster's just weird, man. Like, and it's been weird. And now you add another outfielder that should play every day if he's healthy. So they got a lot of like spare parts